So in this video, we're going to dive into a drill that has arguably created the most successful golfer and best golfer of all time, because this is the drill that Tiger Woods used in his prime that really spurred him on to really have that crazy stretch he had in the 2000s and 2001. So you can tailor this drill to literally any problem that you have with transition and downswing, even a little bit of backswing too. So let's get this into your golf swing, and you're going to be playing some good golf when you've done this drill. So I'm Jonathan Chown with JChownGolf. Let's dive right into it. So what is this drill? It's the pause drill. So it's called pause drill, stop at the top, or freezer drill. So when you get up to the top of your backswing, you pause there for about a second and you hit the shot. So a little bit like this one. So like I said, this was done by Tiger Woods, most famously back in 2000, 2001, probably a little bit before that as well. If you just look on YouTube, you'll see a very old Golf Channel video of him and Butch Harmon, his coach at the time, talking about this drill and how much Tiger Woods hated it, but how really it improved him massively. It's what spurred him on to have that great run he had through 2000 and 2001. So there's many reasons to why this drill can help. So the reason why Tiger used it to get his arms more in sync with the body is just one of the reasons. You can use it for practically anything in regards to your downswing, transition, even backswing a little bit. So let's go into a few ways you can use this drill to have some good success with it. So let's get into the first way that's really good to use this. And this is what I'd use this mostly for people. This and the third one I'd use mostly for people here. Because why this is so good is because you can isolate backswing from downswing. So you can, as we know, it's really hard to think of stuff in your downswing. Happens so fast, but this makes it a little bit easier to consciously make a change. So transition, that's why I'd use this for most people. Getting the right sequencing in transition. As you know from watching my videos, I love people to start with their lower body and mid-torso in transition and leaving their upper body passive. Creates good path, creates the club to shallow, and it's quite powerful as well. So you can isolate that massively. You can get up to the top of your swing, pause, and then think, right, first thing I can do now, because my swing has stopped, get lower body, mid-torso, firing and ripping towards the target, leaving upper body passive. You can also think leaving the hands and arms up. That will give that good sequencing. So nice one to do in transition. Really good one to think of if you're struggling with that problem. If you do some good drills alongside with that target that area, which I've got loads of videos on my channel about that, you'll be able to make some good changes with doing the freezer drill as well. So the second best way to use this drill is if you have the exact opposite problem to what we talked about in the first one there, how lower body and mid-torso firing. If you do that too much, like me, this other one is going to be really beneficial. So this is the way more Tiger Woods used it, thinking of the hands and arms getting more in front. If you're ever a golfer who wants to work on hand and arm movement in the downswing, it should only be if you've got a problem in that area, not as a way as a kind of like a template to swing. So if your lower body mid-torso fires way too hard and that club gets massively stuck, maybe the trail arm gets stuck behind you as well, you would want to feel like you're really getting those arms almost beating the body. So kind of like an outer sequence for the most people with getting that chest firing too fast. For people like myself, get this area firing too fast, we need to feel that. We need to feel the chest and the arms beating the body. So I'd want to feel here, if this is the case for people who block or hook it in that case, stop and then fire those arms and really get that chest rotating to get it out in front of you to sequence that bit up better for those golfers. So the third one here, this is more backswing. So with backswing here, I like to use this with people for getting a bigger turn. Now this is very much a reason why George Gankus uses this drill a lot. He calls it the freezer drill. It's really where it came from, was that saying anyway, it's from George. And he uses it with a lot of players who get a nice big full turn, whatever that would look like for you. So many golfers will get up to the top of their backswing without getting a full turn. They'll be leaving power out there. Their sequencing will probably be poor in the way of chest maybe firing too fast. And they will also be having a little bit of a lack of depth to the hands at the top. Hands be too much on top of them, causing them to slice it. Big full turn is really, really important. So I would get players really feeling like at the top of their swing, their back belt loop on their trousers is pointing a little bit left of the target and feel like their upper back is pointing dead at the target too. Very similar spot. So that will give you a nice big full turn, pause, and then hit it. So let's do that. Back belt loops to the trousers, pointing left of the target, having the upper body feel like it's pointing same place, maybe a little bit at the target, and then hitting the shot from there. We're gonna have better depth, we're gonna sequence better naturally for those golfers who struggle with that. It's just gonna be a better way to do it. So really good one. Now the fourth and final one here. I have a ton of experience with this one here because this is a drill I used to do for this specific reason probably about 15 years ago, quite a while ago. And it was probably, other than the rotation preset drill, probably the drill that's helped me the most. It's really progressed me quite a bit. And this was just the classic keeping in good rhythm. So getting up to the top of the swing, stopping, and not rushing the downswing. So my old rushing the downswing used to be very much getting snatchy with the arms and having those arms get very active, but not swinging over the top because of it, pulling right down and then having tremendous low point and swing radius issues. So for me, it was all about being patient at the top, not necessarily thinking about my sequencing. I was fairly young when that was, so wouldn't have made any sense to me back then, but it was really just to keep everything nice and fluid and being patient at the top, so things would naturally sort themselves out on their own. So you know that time where you feel you've rushed that downswing massively, this is just a brilliant one to do to be able to combat it. So what we did, stop at the top for about a second, hit the ball. But what we would do as well, we would progressive overload it a little bit, so it'd make it progressively harder as we went on. I couldn't hit the ball at all when we did this. Must have been playing off probably about a 4 handicap when I started doing this drill, like I said, years and years ago. And I could not hit the golf ball. I couldn't hit it one bit. I would miss it, I would toe shank it. Horrendous shots. For a 4 handicap, you should not be missing the golf ball with any drill. So you can tell it targeted a massive weak area. So, had to start off with doing it, which what I felt like was a second was no time at all. It just looked like a normal golf swing. But then we built it up until I could get to a point where I could do it for a good few seconds. I won't do it for the whole amount of time, otherwise it'll get very boring to watch. So I'll really pause for a good amount of time, just sit up there and then still hit it. And you know, it's created such a response with me, I still feel scared at the top of the backswing when I stop for that long. I'm like, oh my God, am I gonna toe shank this? Am I gonna miss my net? Generally could do, ball pinging about the garden. So if you rush that downswing, that's a brilliant one to do, regardless of whether it's arms, chest, what have you, be a brilliant one to do. So this kind of is similar to the first two, but it's one that I've had personal lots and lots of experience with. Once that got there, I'll tell you what, it changed my golf swing hugely, put up on massive amount of distance as well, crazy amount of distance for that time. So brilliant drill to do. Long story short, guys, loads of different ways you can use it. Use the intent you want. If you have something mid downswing that you want to work on, you can do this drill and isolate that mid downswing. It'll be way easier for you to get consciously. So if you enjoyed this video, click that like button. If you want more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button too to be notified every single time I put out a video. So urge you to do this drill for whatever problem you might have, and you're going to benefit from it.